Hey girl, hey. It's Sunday. My son and I got some sleep. You know, we've had some really important breakthroughs this past week. You know, we held each other the other night and just cried. And, you know, he said, "I'm so sorry, Mom, and God, you've been through so much." And I said, "I'm sorry, God, you've been through so much." And then we finally talked in the video yesterday, and it was pretty cathartic for him. The problem is he feels like when I said about the husband gutter that, you know, Chris is going to come back and say he felt threatened or something like that. And, you know, I had made that joke to my girlfriends when we were cleaning out the barn earlier, when we had finally found the machetes, that if you look in the videos before, I cleared out a whole section of overgrowth with them. I don't want violence. I don't want all of this anxiety and fear and drama and chaos. Like, all I've been trying to do for the duration of this dumpster fire of a marriage is just live my life and build a family and build a future. And if you haven't been through it, you just don't know what it's like. I've been to Accord, several domestic violence agencies around here, the police, lawyers, and everybody's pretty much like, yeah, good luck with that. Like, so get this. I could take a day off of work and I could sit and relive all of the trauma of the abuse. Spend 3 hours filling out a restraining order, and then it'll go to the courts, right? And then there's a hearing, and the judge will look at him and say, "Did you do any of this?" And he'll do the classic, "Nuh-uh. No, Your Honor, she's a crazy alcoholic. That's really what's happening here." And the margins that he lives in is plausible deniability. And, you know, the thing that I didn't mention in the video yesterday is that when he left that morning, that he left and took his dog and went to the police, that was Thanksgiving. That was Thanksgiving. And I spent that evening in urgent care with my son, terrified that I was going to jail. Now, I called everyone, and the police finally got back to me. They called me and said, "Did you do this?" And I was like, "No." And so obviously they believed me, because nobody came to arrest me, because Chris kept saying, "I'm not going to press charges." And it doesn't matter. In the state of New York, if these police believed there was a crime committed, I would have been arrested and charged with assault on Thanksgiving with a sick child, with no friends and no family who could have been here with him while this happens to me. It is absolutely unconscionable. And so the police that he went to the very next day, so let me back up. 3 days prior to that incident, he drove us 90 miles an hour backwards into a ditch in the snow. And I got out. He got out and left. He didn't care. He didn't even ask my son and I if we were okay. He was trying to drive to Rochester because his tooth hurt. He hijacked my son's hematology appointment, and we drove over Western New York mountains in a Prius. And it was snowing so bad, I kept begging to take the truck, the 4x4, blah, blah, blah. So I called the police and said, I'm in the back of the car. My son and I have concussions and we're hurt. And I called the police, and the cop that showed up, how convenient, 3 days later, he went to tell that cop that I punched him in his eye 3 times. But he's not going to press charges. you just simply cannot imagine what it's like living with someone, trying to build a life with someone who believes, because this is part of like the disorder, I don't, if it's cluster B, if it's narcissism, whatever, borderline personality, I don't know. But you cannot imagine what it's like trying to parent and show up to a job and a life and your dreams and projects and do all of these things when you have someone that not only actively sabotages you, but believes in their delusional mind that you are the abuser. It is cognitive dissonance at its finest. And it's so scary. You know, one of the things that I kind of always took pride in is making sure my fellas were warm during winter. And so my son's growing at a, breakneck speed. He's taller than me now. And so I was getting everybody sweats so they could be cozy through the winter. Winters are long here and the house can be drafty and cold. So I bought everybody winter sweats. And instead of course, my son was like, "Oh, these are great, Mom. Thank you so much." He just says to me, as he's basically walking past me, well, we were sitting outside, and he was like, I figured out why I hate sweats. My rapist wore sweats. And then it's just like, that's it. And he walked away. And the thing that's so painful about that is that he's such a pathological liar. I don't even know if he's telling the truth. I don't know. And in a normal marriage, you would say, "Oh my gosh, baby, that was so traumatic. Like, you need to go to therapy and kind of address some of that stuff." And I think it's showing up and spilling over in places you don't mean it to. And I'm the enemy. It is just, I'm expected to do blind obedience. Meanwhile, I'm racked with anxiety. I never know what's happening from one minute to the next. And it's so scary. And it's so scary. And I've been everywhere and nobody can help me. But meanwhile, he just gets to live in his parents' basement, surrounded by enablers who are going to tell him they're there. That meanie was so meanie. And meanwhile, I am here spinning plates. I get bill after bill in the mail addressed to him that is not being paid. He has yet, I was paying the car insurance, and he has yet another claim on a car because he was supposed to come up here the end of January and do a 10-day trial, and he was just going to come up and help me get stuff done on the list. Well, I think we all know nothing got done. And 10 minutes before he got here, allegedly, he ran over some steel spike that blew into his engine and totaled his car. And so 10 minutes from here, now he has no job and no car. And every time he comes back, the abuse is worse and worse. Meanwhile, he has this insurance claim for a totaled car on the insurance I've been paying. I'm drowning in credit card debt, drowning in medical debt, medical bill debt, because, my son and I came back to the States and all of this stuff started coming out for us. And so we had to go to the doctor and make sure we are okay, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's all psychosomatic, but I have the insurance company contacting me to close this claim. He's not even taking care of the claim. All he has to do is send in the title and he's $3,000 richer, $3,175 richer on an insurance policy that I've been paying so that he can turn around and buy his sister's car. And meanwhile, I'm over here spinning plates and I'm going to have to figure out a way to buy him out of this when I'm barely making ends meet if I want to save my home and my project, my future, my life's destiny. And he just gets to do whatever he wants with complete abandon. And he believes his reality. And all of his enablers believe his reality. And it's so goddamn scary. It's so scary. And so, there's a part of me that just feels like if I need to tell myself that these machetes will be used to protect me and my child, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to feel bad about it. My back is against the wall and it's scary and I just want out. And in a normal relationship, you could say, all right, well, we got married like really fast. And so like, this is just kind of not working out, but no harm, no foul. Like, let's just move on with our lives and come up with a fair divorce and this and that. And nope. As long as he is convinced I am the abuser, then he's going to call it protecting himself. I can tell you so many times, not the least of which was my son's 13th birthday last year in February in Times Square at 3 o'clock in the morning in front of 2 cops. He was raging at me in my face, explaining to me how much he hates me and that he has a right to stick up for himself and he has a right to express his resentments. So basically now he's canceled their actual therapy appointments, but his big claim to fame is he's waking up at 5 a.m. and meditating. And now what he's doing is weaponizing everything that he's learned so that no one can see him dysregulated and I'm the one that looks crazy. It's unbelievable. And it's not like I can just say, oops, I made a mistake. I want to hit delete, divorce. Because the stakes are so high and I'm so scared and traumatized. And so that's just where we are. But the bright spot of my day is I have my, I need to talk about these things, but I also try not to stay there. I'm really trying to process all of this. But I have friends coming up for the eclipse. My old college professor, he's amazing, Dr. Barry Vacker and Gail Bauer, his partner. They just left Corning and they're on their way to see me before they go to Buffalo. So I feel really honored about that, and that ultimately, I haven't seen them in 20 years. And again, while I may have acted out of character at times, I have never acted out of my integrity. And it shows. And I feel like it shows that if you know me, then you know I'm authentic, I'm empathetic, I care, I'm compassionate. I don't just attack people in their sleep. It's so insane trying to live a happy, healthy, normal life with this anvil around your neck. That just like this hand from the grave that just wants to keep abusing themselves through you. It's so surreal. It's so surreal. And it's gaslighting and cognitive dissonance at its finest. For the longest time, I couldn't believe it was happening. The things that we're saying were so eerie from the things that I'd learned about narcissism and psychopathy, like psychopaths. And he would say these very things to me. And I just realized more and more how in danger I am. And it's unbelievable that somebody can just file a false police report on you and believe it and then just drive away and go get mommy to make you a nice warm meal. And your dad to tell you, may God's blessings be upon you. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Anyway, if you're going through anything like this, I'm going to leave you with this. Do not let anyone tell you how you're supposed to get through it. Do not let anyone dictate your journey to healing. You have a right to be heard. You have a right to feel what you feel. And you have a right to be angry and scared. You're dealing with a raft of trauma most people are lucky enough to never have to deal with. And so if all you can do today is take a shower or get out of bed and go to the couch, then I'm proud of you, because this shit is not easy. And I see you and I'm here. I gotta go see if my friends are coming soon, but keep walking towards the light. Keep walking towards the light. I know I am. Mwah. Chat soon.